Well, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to cover 5 tips for doing your first walking marathon. Tip number 1, the 2 sock method. Now, this is very important because most likely, if you're going to try your first walking marathon, you're going to have very blistery feet unless you do this one simple trick. Basically, what you want is you want a thin sock and you want a thin sock in front of one first. There you go. And then grab a thicker sock and put that on as well. There you go. See? Now what that does is it basically acts as a blister. From thinking about this mechanically speaking, the blister is there to protect your skin from more irritation and heat damage. So when you have 2 socks on, you're basically putting on layers so that only the outside part really heats up, and then it has to transfer through the inside part and then your foot. So you're trying to make a barrier that will not heat up as much. Although, if you're still struggling with getting blisters and stuff, I would recommend taking more regular breaks and slowing down a little bit. Yes, this is from Lindy Beige. She did a video on it as well. If you want to check him out, go ahead. Lindy Beige. Beige or Beige. I don't know how to say his name. But he basically learned it from like military practice. They would do a lot of long ass marches and walks and stuff, and they would do the 2 sock method as well. Tip number 2: take a small break every hour or two at the start to reduce fatigue and foot pain. This is very important because I myself kind of just endured it, and that was a lot of unnecessary pain. As long as you have the time for it, you should take breaks. Unless you want to be miserable like I was, don't just go forward for 4 hours straight unless you can handle it and you're not feeling anything too severe. But I was definitely feeling it. I should have stopped way earlier than that most of the time. I suffered for no reason. And I don't want you to suffer for no reason. So please heed my warning here. Your first marathon will take the whole day regardless. It's just going to take like 12 hours plus. And you're probably going to want to fall asleep right after, to be honest. Tip number 3 is more of a making it easier for yourself, mentally speaking. If you have a bunch of podcasts and music stored up on your phone or your MP4, if people ever even use that anymore, you can can enjoy it a lot more, because walking for I don't know, 10 to 12 hours, it's gonna get boring after a while. Trust me, it's gonna get boring. So it's just for the sake of not being bored. I mean, there's nothing more to it really. And just in case, make sure to bring backup power banks that you can use to store up the energy. If your phone or MP4 gets low, you can just have this little connector, charge it up. Bada bing, bada boom. You don't have to go home. You can venture out further distances away from home and walk back, and you will be fine. You won't be bored. Tip number 4 is pretty simple, pretty obvious. Well, I say that. I didn't really do this when I first started. Stock up on food in your backpack, as you will be very, very hungry afterwards. This walking marathons, on average, I think they burn about 2,000 to 2,500 calories, depending on how heavy you are. It can be higher, it can be lower. So it really depends on your weight. But either way, you will need a lot of food to sustain yourself. I would also recommend having a massive meal, like a big breakfast before you start. Just make sure not to like eat too many carbs because you don't want to be feeling sleepy. And yeah, try to get some coffee in as well. Just in case you are feeling sleepy, just get some coffee in. Helps you out. Alternatively, if you don't mind spending money and you want to have an easier time because you're carrying food on your back for hours is not like easy, I would recommend just getting a card and just having very convenient places along your walk. Like, I don't know, if you pass by Greg's like multiple times, go for a Greg's. So just so you're not hungry, uh, because you will need that energy anyway. It's probably going to be all burnt away, most likely, unless you overeat, I guess. So yeah, just carry some money or a card with you if you don't want to wear a backpack, that because it's less fatiguing. Tip 5 is basically the most essential one, really. Build up to your first marathon. I don't think, unless you have previous experience, most likely you won't have the mental fortitude, nor will you have the body that can handle a full walking marathon. Trust me, it's no joke. It's still really hard. It might be the easiest marathon you can do, but it's still hard. Well, as long as we don't count TV show marathons. Well, even that's kind of mentally draining. My point is, I built up for my first walking marathon by doing half marathons. And before that, I did quarter marathons. So 10 kilometers was very painful for me one time and fatiguing back in the day until I did like 50 of them. Oh man, that's I think it's about 20. I think I did 20 before I did half marathons. And I think I did like 20 half marathons before I did, roughly 20, before I did my full marathons. I tried to do a video back in the day, like this year, I think. It was this year, right? It must have been this year or previous year. No, yeah, it was like a year ago. I tried to make a video where I did a marathon walk every day. Guess how that turned out? Not very well. All my time was gone. And it does drain you very hard if just from doing one. You'll get shittier sleep. You'll struggle a lot, especially if you don't eat like all the calories you need. If you're gonna do some kind of challenge, some stupid challenge like I did, where you walk a marathon a day for a week straight, that's 7 marathons, and you're trying to lose weight at the same time, not the best idea. You're like making the stuff twice as hard as it needs to be. You're crash dieting. It's just for the sake of seeing how how mentally tough you are, basically, at the end of the day. I would not recommend that. If you have any other tips, please put them in the comments below. I'd love to read some tips myself, see if I could add any more improvements into what I already do, because I'm not like a master or anything. I just happen to have done them for a bit, a few months ago, and more. I do more jogging half marathons nowadays, but if there's stuff I can learn from you guys, by all means, I'm willing to learn. I'm sure other people will be very happy that you're providing value to them as well. You're basically making life better for everyone if you do. So please do. And I'll see you guys later. If you want to like the video, if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, those were the 5 tips for a marathon. Goodbye.